In this lesson, we will talk about the names and symbols of elements that you will need to learn, and we will also learn how to distinguish among metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So as we start looking at the periodic table more, we're going to see that elements are represented by chemical symbols. These are all one or two letter symbols, and you need to realize that capitalization matters. If it is a one-letter symbol, then that letter is always capitalized. For two-letter symbols, the first letter is capitalized and the second letter must be lowercase. If you write two capital letters, such as capital C, capital O, this represents two elements, carbon and oxygen, and it actually is the compound carbon monoxide. Capital C, little o, represents the element cobalt, so you do need to be careful about how you write chemical symbols. You will need to know the names and symbols of some elements. These elements are shaded on the page here, but they are also available to you on Canvas under Course Details, Exam Info. You only need to know the names and symbols of the shaded elements. You do not need to memorize any of the numbers associated with elements, nor do you need to memorize the location of the elements in the periodic table. This periodic table is very similar to the one you will receive on the exam. Notice that it has the atomic and mass numbers for each element as well as the symbol. The part you need to memorize are the name and the symbol, and only for the elements that are shaded. The periodic table is arranged in such a way that it groups like substances together. For example, on the left side of the periodic table in blue, with the exception of hydrogen, we see that we have our metals. So notice that the majority of the elements are metals. In the green, we have what are called metalloids. So these are substances which have some properties similar to metals and some properties similar to nonmetals. The nonmetals are on the right side of the periodic table and are shown in red, and hydrogen is also included as a non-metal. So in some respects, hydrogen belongs in the first column of the periodic table because of its properties. In other respects, it better fits above fluorine. Either way, it is a non-metal. It's important to remember where these are generally located on the periodic table. Most of what we will deal with are the metals and the nonmetals, but know that there are metalloids in between. We talked about pure substances and how they were divided between elements and compounds. We further broke down our elements into atomic and molecular elements. Now we're going to look at compounds and look at the difference between molecular and ionic compounds. So in order to do this, we need to look back at our periodic table and remember where our classifications of metal, metalloids, and nonmetals are. Molecular compounds are composed of two or more nonmetals. So two or more of our elements in red. Ionic compounds are composed of a metal plus a non-metal. So we have something from the left side of the periodic table, excluding hydrogen as an option, and something from the right side of the periodic table. We won't discuss very many compounds that involve the metalloids, so we're not going to worry about those.